Greetings, everyone. Tommy Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. My co-host, Tina Bird. I'll let her say hi.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. I'm Tina Bird here in the UK in Southampton, saying hello to everyone across the pond and to everyone in Hawaii. Good evening.
All right, everybody. We're going to have an interesting show today. I hope so. Now, what I want to say, I know people watch this. If you watch it, if you like it, send it to all your friends because it stays up. It's on YouTube. If you don't, send us your mail. Why not? What's wrong? What you feel? Got questions? Text us, email us. We're always open for suggestions and people that want to say something. If they have something important to say, I do a truth only. So please, if you're going to call in, make sure that it's as real as it can get. Outside of that, the topic today is getting ready for a UFO wave. All right. My perception for this coming year will be the biggest wave of UFOs ever in our history. Never mind what the government releases about it. Won't be much, but it'll be something. And how more people have more cameras and able to film a lot more things. So never mind what we're going through with this virus. I think it's going to bring more alien races here. I don't know if you know this or care to know this. Alien races like to take people, and especially dead people. And they could use that. So with all these more deaths happening and possibly a lot more, it gives them an appetite to come down here. They come around every war. They're always at the wars, watching and waiting. So not all races, but the races that do work with this planet do have a reason to be here, and that's one of them. So I want to go into that today, what to expect, what we can look at, how we can find things and understand what's really happening with this whole program. The first thing I want to say, President Trump put an order in saying that within 180 days, about 20 days ago already, that they have to release the UFO files. All right. I'm glad he did, but what they're going to release is only going to be a small tip of the iceberg. Don't expect them to say all the actual things that happened, the invasions, the fights, the battles, the people abductions and all that. What they will release is the UFOs flying over us, and they really aren't going to hurt us. They'll probably say that along the way as well. Why they're not promoting it? They say, well, they don't hurt us or blah, blah, blah. But we'll see. We got about 120 days, 40 days, somewhere in between there before this happens. I don't know how Biden's going to deal with it. I don't know how much he knows about it. He was vice president. I'm sure he knows about it because he was vice president for 4 years. So obviously, when the president was told, I'm sure he was too. So we'll see. I'm hoping it gets exposed in a great way. I mean, people need to prepare what's going on for real. So outside of that, now in my neighborhood, the UFO world's escalating every day. Every day that it's clear, you go out, you can see stuff. I'm going to give it over to Tina because she has the same kind of things going on where she is.
So, guys, yeah, especially since not this November just gone, but the one before, there's been a massive increase here in the UK in UFO sightings. More people, I think that's due to more people with lockdown going outside, being bored and sky watching. So more people are going outside and sky watching for themselves. So more people are seeing things that they cannot identify. Professional people like professional watchers, trained observers, pilots, everyday people that are observing things because it's been lovely and clear here in the UK, mostly in the wintertime. That you can see the stars and everything and the moon, everything very, very clearly here in the UK because it's been very cold. So more people have been reporting and taking photographs, videos, sketches and drawings. So it has become whether there is an increase in UFO activity, or whether it's because of the lockdown, more people are actually going outside and looking. But 4 years ago, there was a huge spike, many, many years ago. Back in the late 1800s, there was a huge kind of wave. And that was because people didn't have TVs, they didn't have telephones, they were outside, they were working outside, looking up at the stars, looking after animals. And you know, so they were seeing more, looking out for more. But in this day and age, we have, like Tommy just said, we have so much capability and technology at our hands. Apart from your eyes, we have the ability to take pictures, videos, do sketches, drawings. Other people in the same area, we have technology to put it on Facebook or other media, social platforms. So, and more people are available to identify things now. More people are willing to help say, no, it's not swamp gas, there isn't a swamp near you, or it's not a balloon, because, you know, if people misidentifying balloons, then let's just have a poster of different balloons and where they're released. I don't think there's a releasing station for balloons around here. You never know. And I don't think balloons really travel that fast up in space and glow and move from side to side and go up and down. But there's been a huge influx, especially in the countryside area, surprisingly. I live not far from water. You'd see it's, some nights it's very clear, so you can see out. If you went not far from where I live, you can see out over the shore and over the sea, and you know, you can see the sky and lots of things going on. So seeing things and reporting them is fine, but nothing is being done about locating where they're coming from. The frequency, if that is, I don't see government agencies or the army or military base on alert. I don't see them out looking. I don't see them sky watching. Not that you would, but you don't see like night maneuvers or helicopters chasing them off here. You don't see aircraft. They just, I think because they're so high up, I mean, you can see like the stars, and you can see them like drop down, move along up and down, and just shoot off, I think. And they come around in different circles, and so you do see a different amount of them as well. So it's not just one. You think, oh wow, one. If you're here on a very cold night or a very hot night, you look up at the stars and you'll guarantee you'll see at least 3 or 4 objects, or you'll see something in the sky. Just sit there with your phone and just take pictures, and excuse me, you'll see something. But I think that's due to the influx. But I do think that there is some kind of disclosure or announcement or something that will happen within the next year or so, if not this year. Excuse me. But something or someone is coming. I mean, just a bit of data for you all. Well, not really data, a bit of historical kind of fact. I saw a UFO Hunters this week. It was an old episode, and Mike Barr from the United States and Daryl Sims, I think he's either American or Canadian, I'm not sure, I do apologise, and went to a ranch near water. A gentleman had shot apparently at a UFO. So when they went there to investigate, the UFO hunters went there, and they said that other people had seen them, other members of the family had seen them. A gentleman who reported it said he'd been abducted, so there was an abduction going on. And he was of the same like-minded as me. It wasn't pleasant, and they'd taken him, and he'd seen other people too, so he's frightened of him and his family. And then when another time the UFO came close to his house, he shot at the UFO. So he took a shot at the UFO, and he actually hit it. He hit this orb or whatever it was, and a piece of it fell off. I think his son shot it, actually. So when the alien hunters went there, they saw pictures, photographs. They took radio, look, they took their little Geiger counter along, and they took meter readings. Daryl Sims, who was a former CIA agent, I believe, or FBI agent, not quite sure, a federal agent anyway. He was there, so he's a retired gentleman who researches, and he's an abductee himself, I believe. Again, his same like-mindedness as me. So it wasn't pleasant. So they went out to the ranch with this other team of people, and they had this piece of UFO they analysed, saying it was made, put together. It was actually made. So it was not naturally occurring. It's not naturally occurring on this earth, and it wasn't made on this earth. So they were holding a piece of manufactured material from another world. That was confirmed by a laboratory, and they were amazed. No follow-up has been done. No military investigation has been done. If a member of the human race has shot at another race of beings, don't you think that that's something the government internationally or nationally or worldwide should be looking at human beings as shooting at UFOs. And this gentleman has a piece that he shot because he was protecting himself and his family. If they're intruding and incursion in doing these incursions so close to the human race, and we're managing now to physically shoot pieces off of UFOs, what more evidence do they want? They had the evidence there in their hand. They had the scientific data to back it up. They had descriptions from the family. They had everything. So it ticked every single boxes for abduction. It ticked every single boxes for UFOs. Everybody was seeing them in that area. They ticked underwater UFOs as well because they lived near a body of water. Other family members they tried to take, and it came so close to the house. He had a shotgun and shot a piece of it off. So for people who don't know, if you're shooting a shotgun, for it to have any effect, you do have to be quite close and to hit a UFO object that's moving and have a piece of it. It was quite a sizable piece. It was like a big chunk like that. So they have evidence. They have scientific proof. They have physical evidence. They have witness statements, and no military on the planet is looking at that. So that's a big question for today. And also, look at an old story again. An actual minister, one of the leading Chinese foreign diplomats for China, was reported an alien abduction in Moscow. He said he was taken for many hours, and the Moscow, everyone in the Kremlin in Moscow totally believed him, and everybody in China believed him. Now, what follow-up was done on that, I don't know. The abduction report went worldwide. It made headline news around the world. Nothing more was followed up. Now, if you've got a head of a country coming out and saying that they've been abducted in another country while at a conference, that is not media. What the military and both countries should be looking into that, and nothing seems to have come of that. So, you know, you either got a crazy diplomat or you've got a gentleman telling the truth. So if a gentleman, head of an army and military, is telling you that they've been abducted in another country, that is cause for concern. Great concern for the human race. So, but apart from that, I'll chuck it back to Tommy for any questions about that. But I think we are close to more people gaining physical evidence, because if you do have people out there now that's taken it unto their own selves to defend their families from UFOs because the government in their country or the military is failing to protect human beings, then I think you're going to see a lot more evidence. Tommy.
Well, there's one story. I met a family. I can't say the name. I'm bad with names, but basically the husband worked in the Navy. He was in charge of all the UFO files, and when he went to release them, they framed him for killing somebody. He's in jail right now. No lawyers will take the case. I talked to the wife. They go to see him every month, but he's in lockdown completely. He can't get out. Framed. No, he can't go to court because he can't get a lawyer to even defend him. But the files that he had were incredible. So, you know, they're still covering it up no matter what they say. So whatever they're going to release, there's going to be a bunch of stories. Now, I had a friend of mine on my show who has one of the pieces of a ship that his friend shot off of a UFO. And it looks like a giant pine cone. But the person that shot the ship was killed. And he has it. He won't let the government take it. He won't let anybody take it. He let a couple little teeny pieces be cut off of it, which they said it can't be made on planet Earth. But he won't let anybody touch it. But here's the thing. In all the history, in the UFO history, there's only about 2 real stories of actual artifacts that we have that we can kind of say that wasn't made on planet Earth. Doesn't mean it was made by aliens. It just says it wasn't made on planet Earth. So
it was actually manufactured. This piece was manufactured. So space balloons don't go out into space onto planet, manufacture a certain alloy or metal that's not found on this Earth, manufactured and then brought to Earth.
Well, we don't know what's going on Mars, really. We don't know what's going on the other side of the moon right now.
So did you hear about the news of Mars this week then? And
what
was found in Antarctica? Wow, that's something interesting here in the UK. I think it was today or yesterday. I'm not sure what country it was, so you're going to have to look that up on the news. As a country, one of the countries, either England or States, there's a scientific community out in Antarctica drilling ice cores. They go down about a mile or what have you. The ice is about a mile thick, and they've been doing ice core samples. So when they've gone to review these ice core samples, deep ice core samples of Antarctica, they found particles that don't belong from Earth, huge particles, which have to be brought here somehow, and then rain down upon the Earth, come from the surface of Mars. And they found these this week in Antarctica in the ice core samples over a mile down. So that means over how many millions of years the Antarctic's been there, these ice core samples were there probably before the ice.
Well, half of the stories on that are coming out as far as there's being a base down there. They found an alien base down there. So they're dealing with a lot of different things there that they're not going to tell us. Luckily, that snuck out. But as far as the actual things, as far as people, famous people went there, got sick, had to come back, witness some of the things that are there.
Buzz Aldrin, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's the one that really got sick when he was there. But basically, the truth of that's not going to be exposed anytime soon either. So we're playing this game. We're dealing with a virus taking over the world, taking over our thinking, the way we act, the way we... While they're doing all these other things, there's always a reason behind what the government does. We know that this virus was created, all right? Now, what was it created for? For who? What country? What planet? But it's affecting us, the whole planet.
Sorry, can I stop you there? Have you heard the news from the UK today?
Today, no, we don't get new UK news.
Okay, so just to update you, last year, from the year before, 2019, I always assumed that they called it COVID-19 because of it was 2019 in Wuhan when it came out. Apparently not. It's named after COVID-19, after the DNA or protein spike it most affects. It's like 13, 14, and 19. We had a first wave last year. We had a second wave here starting about October, November. We went into a second lockdown. And we're finding just after Christmas, we've gone into like a second or third lockdown here in the UK. It was announced that our Pfizer jabs came out, and the Zeneca one came out, which was the Oxford one. And they said that it would be pretty good, and you'd be 90% or 95% immune against any COVID-19. Since then, there was a different strain of COVID-19, so it has mutated. They're calling it like the European strain, so that's the second strain. So after the second strain, it was announced about 3 weeks ago that another strain they thought was COVID-19 that came from Africa is actually not. They're calling it a COVID-19 strain. Today it was announced on the news there's an African strain that's come to Britain. We had 11 cases. Now we've got over 100. They've actually gone to these county, little towns you would call them, isolated that town, and they're testing thousands of people in that town. They're putting stricter rules. People cannot move about. They will be housebound, and they will be tested at their homes. Now, it's called actually E48 something D or E. So it's not even COVID-19. They said this severe, deadlier, or this severe strain doesn't work against the vaccines. They said because it's mutated so much, it doesn't resemble COVID-19. So if it's worse and it's strain resistant to the vaccinations, then they don't think, sadly, that there's going to be any hope. But this new African variant, which has mutated severely, is called E48 or E44 or something like that. It's like 3 or 4 numbers and a digit. So it is not COVID-19. It is a mutated variant called E48 something. And there's no known cure. It spreads rapidly. We've had 5 cases across the UK in different counties up and down the country. They don't know how it's been transmitted. It's obviously come in from Africa outside, which there shouldn't be anything. We've still got people landing that don't have to go into quarantine, Tommy, here in England. It's ridiculous. The death toll's still going up here in the UK, even though the cases are coming down. They are vaccinating people, but they said, again, they have to get the vaccination program off. I think they've vaccinated about 9 million people now. But if this new variant or this E48 strain takes hold, there is no vaccination against it.
But I just entered in a reply to somebody in the chat room.
Okay.
Bingo. Oh, there it goes. Okay. It was a quick question about the virus and aliens and stuff like that. Did they have a soul and all that? I'm just trying to explain to him that they have something that they would call a soul, but it's different than ours because they can't go past the astral plane, meaning they have to reincarnate into a human to develop, and then they can go back and eventually go past the astral plane. But they have no feelings and emotions, so they got a lot to learn. Technology is not what you come to planet Earth to learn, but mankind has become to a place where they think it is. Now, all these viruses that are changing and all that, it's all a game of nature. Now, basically here, they just passed a thing saying in the United States, they want to inject all people over 75. One of the most ridiculous things I ever heard. I said, they're sick and they're going to get symptoms from the virus no matter what, the vaccine, I mean, and it could affect them greatly. So, and then how much longer are they going to be alive, most of them? So, you know, they're playing a game with life right now. I don't know who's really responsible behind all of it. It wasn't Biden because he didn't start it. I mean, Trump was involved with the whole thing from day one, telling everybody to drink bleach. I mean, a good way to get rid of it.
So, yeah, good bit of news. There is, what's that? Oh, yeah. So there has been a bit of different COVID news here in the UK. My partner just flashed a note to me to say we have one piece of the UK that's actually COVID free, and they're living with no COVID restrictions, no masks, no distancing, nothing whatsoever. So the Isle of Man is a little tiny island off the coast of UK. There's only a few thousand people live there, a few hundred people live there. And they became the first part of the UK that is COVID free. You have to go into quarantine to be able to go there. So you don't take it to the island. And yeah, so that was announced yesterday on the English news that one part of the UK is absolutely COVID free. Nobody on that island has COVID-19 now. There's no new strains reported and nobody there has it. And they've lifted all restrictions on the Isle of Man here in the UK. Just thought I'd let you know that.
Oh, so man, I got these questions. I'm trying to answer them.
Okay.
Anybody, if you want to come on, text me. Just ask me to come on, and I'll give me the link. I don't know if you could see it there. It should be on the billboard on the link to come into the show. Anybody wants to come on and directly ask questions and stuff like that. It's hard to do both at the same time. But here's the thing. We got serious problems happening, and it's escalating. Now, where are we going to go with it? How far is it going to go before something dramatic completely shifts everything? Well, I say roughly 6 months. Whether it's going to be a giant earthquake, which I think is going to happen, if that's going to be the main cause, or an alien race landing, or both, I think we're ready for a change. The world's ready for a change. Let me just say, I don't know. So I'm telling people to get prepared, work on their self, work on their spiritual self, where they think they are spiritually, how to improve that, how to get to a point where they understand things about that. It's more important to understand who and what you are as soul than building a house, buying a new house, buying a car, all those little trivial things that keep your attention focused on nothing beneficial to the soul itself. So, you know, I'm a rebel. I'm hardcore. I teach what I know, and I can only teach that. But I do disagree with many of the speakers out there to the max. I challenge all of them. Not one of them is willing to take the debate because they're afraid to. You know, when you don't have any truth, the truth will always destroy the lie. And that's a fact. If you have the truth. If you don't have the truth, anybody else can jump on top of you and put their stuff over it, and it all gets wish-washy. But in the UFO world, there's too many lies, too many stories. The big name people telling stories because they don't know the truth. Travis Walton is a good friend. I mean, we talk a lot, but his story, he doesn't know what happened. So he's trying to figure it out for himself in his own life. And it's not that it's, I'm going to go into a quick thing real fast. I know a person who worked with 120 doctors. They all have been abducted. So they all don't know what's happening. So, it's not just smart people, it's not just poor people, but it's people that can't come out publicly and say what happened.
I mean, Dr. John Mack, bless his soul, he's no longer with us. He investigated the aerial phenomenon in South Africa, He came out publicly to the world and science community and said alien abduction is real. It's a real event. It's a physical event, and it's going on. I mean, this is one of the top brains in the world who the military in other countries are let investigate in UFO cases, telling you this is real. You've got Chinese prime ministers in foreign countries saying it's real. You've got people in America and Canada shooting now at UFOs, physically getting evidence because they're under attack from being abducted. And the military is not interested in protecting their own citizens of what is going on. People crying out, we want physical evidence. You have physical evidence holding a piece of a UFO on TV that's been looked at a lab under a microscope, had samples cut from it. It's a huge chunk, telling you it's not made of this earth. It's manufactured on another planet. You know what? That is evidence. Hello, people. What's going on?
Let me say something on that. All right. If you're
sorry, hold on. Got answer John's question. It's an Isle of Man, so people come to the mainland and go there. The people that live there get everything from the mainland, so they have a lot of contact with people from the UK for deliveries, letters, papers, milk, internet, food, livestock, vets, nurses, doctors. It's a living community, and they get everything from their mainland shipped there. So it is quite a step with the COVID and the risks. Sorry, John.
Well,
Sorry,
he just asked us what island, where can we move to get away from it all? Well, not on planet Earth.
You can't fly anymore. It's a world pandemic.
We could build a boat and go there. Noah did it. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you're a leader of an army and you're going out to a battlefield, you're not going to tell them that you're going to use pea shooters while they got lasers shooting at you. Because they'll realize they're not going to win, and they won't even try. So if the government came out and said they can't stop the abductions, which they can't, what do you think people would do? The first UFO sighting, wait, let me finish it. The first sighting over the White House, when the world saw UFOs over the White House, they couldn't do a thing about it, and they still can't. We did have a couple wars in space, all right? We're learning how to attack their little ships. And I can tell you this right now. I know from 3 different sources, the motherships are going to be here within a year. All right. And they're going to be 1,000 times bigger than the little ships we've been playing with. So guess what? We're in for like a Star Wars situation, whether you want to believe that or not. That's your choice. But what's going to happen when it does happen? They can't tell the world that they're not ready to defend the planet. Russia and the United States are worried about defending the planet. China is worrying about taking over the planet and taking over the moon. So that they got a totally different agenda. All right. Russia and Germany's been working with the United States for over 50 years. And it's like, they're not friends here, but they are friends in space and working in space, working with these ships, trying to stop them from attacking the United States or the world. So there's a lot going on, people. Are you ready for that? The government's going to say, look, we're being invaded, but we can't defend ourselves. We're going to try. What's that going to do for the public? Do people really want to know that? Do they want to know? Let me just say, all these abductions going on, they have no way to stop it or even know how many people get abducted in a day, never mind a year.
That's scary.
So, and all these people disappearing in the parks, they know that. They won't admit it either. The parks don't have to say how many people disappear in the park. Disappear. The car's right there, the tent's right there, but all the family's gone. Imagine that. How did they disappear? I mean, there's no cliffs where they fell off of, and there was, they see the bodies on the bottom of it, which they don't. So there's so many things going on. All right. Somebody put a new Atlantis. I think that would be the greatest thing, but it can't happen until you wash off of the garbage. Garbage has to be removed before we can move forward. And that's why the whole story is of Sodom and Gomorrah, Noah's Ark. It was to purify the part of the planet so they could recreate. And see, mankind doesn't move forward Every time we get a setback, we move backwards. And by that, Atlantis, we didn't kill, we didn't steal, rob, we couldn't cheat, couldn't lie. You didn't have to talk. We didn't eat animals. And guess what? It was beautiful. Could we go back to that situation? Do people really want to go into a space where they don't have to get drunk and they don't have to do all these weird things to just feel good about living for a short period of time, getting drunk out of their bird and all the other words? You know.
No, so I've got just to go back and recap on a few things because I'm taking notes. Just a few things that you said. Now, I know we talk about the same things mainly, a bit different things, but we're going more in depth in it today, I think. And Tommy's hit a lot of it on the head. So just to reiterate, so if I ask you a question, Tommy, if I put it like this, if I was to say to you, I'm an American citizen or a Canadian citizen, and a military force was coming into my home, I then had to protect myself by shooting at them, getting a piece of their craft. What would the response of the military said if I said China flew in, it was a Chinese or it was a British airplane that went there, they tried to take us and I shot them, here's a piece of a British helicopter. Now, everyone else saw this. People have been reporting a helicopter flying over. What would the military's response be? Would there be a national outcry? Would they get hospital support to check if they were okay, if they were traumatized, see what else happened to the family, where these incursions were coming from? Would they get protection? What would be the next step?
All right, here's the thing. I'm going to put a couple scenarios together. An ex-girlfriend of mine was in Vietnam. She was a nurse on the front line. All right, she was washing dead babies all day long. All right. To Vietnam in the 90s. And they took her to a place where they had all the name tags and skulls of the people that they killed, the white people. All right. And they said they don't like white people in Vietnam. And she was taken to prison camps in 1994 from prisoners from Vietnam. They did nothing about that. I mean, Sylvester Stallone did a movie about going to their Vietnam.
Yeah, but this is on, this is on American soil, though. This is what I'm saying.
Wait, let me finish.
Yeah.
Because, okay, that was on foreign soil. Remember when our plane got shot down in another country?
Yeah.
And we worried so hard to get the pieces and everything back?
Yeah.
Why didn't they do the same with the Vietnam people? But if a plane or a ship or a rocket flies over the United States, they have to do something about it, all right, whether they want to or not. Otherwise, we lose all power of who and what we are as a country. So Putin will not let a chemtrail plane fly over his country without shooting it down if they try to do it. So again, defending your country is the most important thing. So when a ship comes over us and they can't shoot it down, then we're in trouble. So they're not going to tell the world that, because then it breaks down the whole security of our system.
But they can shoot them down. The problem is, if you've got members of the public, you've got an American citizen shooting down or shooting and hitting a UFO. So our weapons are effective against them. If a member of the public just walked outside and shot a UFO.
Let's look at that again. All right. If I went outside and shot a piece of a UFO off a ship right now, right? How would I know that it was really an alien ship? How do we know? Wait, let me finish. How would you know it was a Russian taking a ship and trying to fly it? All right. Again, the materials are much different now. Billy Myers came out with ships in the 50s. They don't fly around in those ships anymore, but there was one sighted over California a couple of years ago. Directly came right over the ocean and everything else.
It wasn't a ship. It was a giant glowing orb. He shot at it because it came towards them. It was low down in the woods. They have radiation on the trees, which they clarified afterwards. This chunk, I'm not kidding you, I got a gold nugget chunk this big. It was huge, Tommy. It was huge. And a big, giant piece, they could heard it hit the drive. Other people saw it. It's been tested in a lab. It's been looked at by experts.
Did they say what it was? Did they have any idea?
No, they said the metal or alloy, whatever it's made of, is not found on this earth.
They're not going to admit it. Everything ever found.
It's not manufactured on this earth.
That's one person. Every piece of artifact that was discovered, alien or not, is based on different minerals I mean, there's only 117 minerals in the world of the universe that we know of. And if for him to say it's not one we know of, he'd have to prove that. Because like now the metals that we do get from alien ships are mixtures of lead, tin, iron, all the different metals they cross-met. The person that had this pine cone, he had it tested by 16 different companies. And they all said it's a mixture, but it cannot be made here. All right. So again, if it's gold, if it's titanium, or it's element 115, 117, all these different things, they're not releasing much about them as well. When the UFO person came out and said he found element 117 or 115, whatever it was a new element.
It wasn't just in one lab. They had it blind tested.
Here's the thing. If they're flying through space and they're traveling at super high speeds, it's not metal. It's not normal metal. And when it's an orb, it's not. I can tell you this. An orb was over my house. I shot it with a laser. It was a whitish ball of light. I hit it with a green laser. It turned green. What metal can do that? None. All right. And then it turned white again and started going across the sky. I hit it with the laser again, and it turned a ball of green. So to say if I shot at that with a super tight, gigantic laser and blasted it, what would come off of it? A piece of metal? Again, how do we know they weren't carrying something from another world? I mean, there's so many scenarios until they get the alien that was driving the ship and get the whole ship. It doesn't
You're
mean
about biological body.
Yeah, exactly.
A new one, because they've already got a few of those.
But they're not going to release that. They had that in the 1900s. Bonman Bailey had a piece. I mean, the what do you call it? The museum in New York City was being opened for the first day. The day that it opened, it was on fire and burnt down. They had a Bigfoot there. They had a whole bunch of different artifacts in there, and it was burnt down. So, the government has always mainstream that we don't see facts that we're not supposed to, that they don't want us to.
But the point is, if you've got somebody shooting at a craft that isn't American, doesn't have wings on it, is coming to your garden, flying over your neighborhood, glowing different colors, and you've got American citizens shooting at an unidentified object, why is the military not looking into this?
Well, again, all right, if it's that close to the planet, and if somebody shot at you,
someone's back garden,
what would you do? I mean, if they had any technology and somebody's blasting at you, I mean, that would start a war. It would start a war with a race.
So why aren't the government intervening in these cases then?
I don't think they believe it's real. I think it could be a fraud. It could be a setup. They might have paid the doctor to say, the scientist to pay. Everything, until it's proven physically where the world can see it, it is probably a cover. Somebody, even John said that, as a cover, because if it was true, like you said, they would be on top of it. Now, there's a story. I'm trying to think of his name. He's all over the internet. He was really famous. He was on Coast to Coast, calling in every 6 months. He was on the run. He shot an alien in his backyard, and he put the alien in the icebox. The alien shot his dog and killed his dog. All right. The government came in, and they stole the freezer with the alien in it and everything. And he was on a run for almost a year. So, I mean, that kind of story is real. I mean, now he claims a lot of different things, but everybody claims things later on. Because you've been visited by an alien, suddenly you're spiritual.
But the CIA investigator said and thought it was real. The American ufologist who investigated it was real. One of your scientists investigated and said it was a real case.
All right, and wait. Let's get the name of that scientist. I'm for facts and truth.
Have a look. Have a look on. It was on UFO Hunters. Have a look.
Send me the link because UFO hunters are useless. They have no proof of any. You can't say I'm a UFO hunter because I never even stood on a UFO or touched it.
It was one Daryl Sims investigated.
Okay, again, he's out there mainstream. He's famous because he did a movie. All right, but again, he's down there with a big giant hand saying it's a healing hand now, and he does a lot of stupid things. I challenge him a lot. I was supposed to bring him on my show and everything. But
hello, Sasha.
He had to go. Oh, Sasha, greetings. Come on. But again, what's happening is story after story is proving much of nothing. when they start flying drones over people's houses, you don't think people are going to be shooting at them as well? They're passing a law right now within 2 months because of that. Anybody that has a drone and flies a drone has to be certified and shipped and get a registration.
You're not allowed to fly them here in the UK.
Well,
you can't go out and buy it and run it. So if you lived on a council estate or a government-owned piece of land or a park, you're not allowed to have a drone. You're not allowed to fly them. But talking of drones, I've just seen, was it John's comment? So John's comment about the Mars flyby rover that's landing on Mars on the 18th of February is a good thing. We get more pictures of Mars if it's a live feed, of course. So we're all looking forward to them explaining away all the lovely things they're going to see and landscapes on Mars. But this has already happened. They've already had pictures and flybys of Mars to get a topography map together for them to be able to land the the Mars rovers. So they studied Mars from a distance at some altitude, very close to for many years before they even sent the Mars rovers there. So I'd like to see those photographs. But Tommy, over to you.
Okay, after that, we're landing on Mars next month, or this month. What is it?
This
February?
month.
All right, we'll see what they give us. You remember when we landed, when we flew that rocket into the moon? They never showed us what happened.
No.
They'll show us what they want, which is pretty scary in that way. I mean, as far as truth.
Hello, Sasha.
Hello, guys. How are you? It's been a while.
It's been a while. Are you okay?
Yeah, everything's good. I was just transitioning to alternative platforms since everyone is censoring me. So I got sick of dealing with that. So
I'm doing with AOL, and they censor every other thing I type on there.
Yeah.
I don't even use. I use the word cupcake, and they censored it.
What's so dangerous about a cupcake?
I have no clue. I've been writing them letters saying, I've been with you since you started. You get money from me. Oh, John wants to come in too.
They're not bothered. Hello, John.
So you got your mask on.
Hi, John.
Hey.
No crazy antics today, please.
You don't have to have the mask on. Coronavirus won't transmit through a computer.
Yeah, we're not sending it to you over here.
I gotta go.
So, yeah, we can hear your speaker.
Yeah, I think you've got a tab open with audio.
He turned himself up now.
I know I turned him up. Sorry. If you can shut the music off.
Got a tab open with audio.
Oh, sorry.
So let's keep it real.
Is there any questions you guys want to ask?
Okay, I was going to say, if you can mute your YouTube tab, we won't be able to hear the echo.
Yeah, he's gone. But
anyway,
somebody else came on. Drinking beer too. Okay. Here's the thing. All these things coming out, it's going to be coming out greatly this year. All right. You're going to have to dig between everything that comes out to find the truth within it. All right. Now, the fact that we're getting people shooting at ships mean they're pretty low. And that means they're close enough to hit something, a mountain or anything like that as well. What the reasoning from coming so low to this guy's property, letting them shoot at him and not doing anything. I mean, the aliens will fight back. I'm not saying they're all angry, vicious, but I'm sure they're not going to let you shoot at them and not shoot back. And their technology is way beyond ours. So obviously, to get hit by a bullet is pretty dumb. I mean, they're traveling through space. They get hit by meteorites and things like that, but they get hit by a little bullet. And I'm sure the bullet was out of a gun that wasn't super high-tech equipment. So again, I would always say, what's driving the ship? What kind of entities inside it? If it's a ball of light, shooting at a ball of light, they go into the sun. So imagine that. I filmed the ship going into the sun. So their abilities to adapt and shift and take on heat, energy, or resistance is way beyond man's conception, as far as we know with science. Is there a question? Let me just read that question real fast. Denial is. I mean, it's easy. We got a real face coming in.
I figured I'd represent my Russian hat today. So.
Oh, wow.
That's Vidania.
Hey, got a real face in there today.
Comrade.
That looks good. It looks cool.
I got that for Christmas, so it's working.
Oh, really?
Very
it's
nice.
cool where you are right now?
No, not today. Today's pretty nice, like 45 or 50.
Oh, okay. Because I know it was dropped down on the East Coast really bad last week, a couple of days ago anyway.
Oh, okay.
It's been minus 13 in Scotland here, minus 6 up north, and between 0 and minus 4 here. But today was about 4 degrees, 5 degrees.
You always promote your book at the end, but I want to promote something real fast right now.
We do the radiation thing as well. Go for it, Tommy.
Well, let me just do this. A friend of mine just got out of jail. All right. And he was in prison a couple of years for false charges. They brought a lot of charges against him, couldn't prove one of them, wouldn't let him defend himself even, because he's a sovereign citizen. I don't know if you know anything about sovereign citizens, but you have the right to become one, and the government doesn't like that, so they're doing everything they can to harass people that try to become sovereign citizens. But it was supposed to take effect in 9/11, right after, and it kind of just disappeared after 9/11, as far as like everybody becoming a sovereign citizen. So Sean David Morton was one of the top psychics, basically until he was put in jail. All right. He became famous around 95. Michael Scallion was the #1 psychic up until then. He put out the world maps, what the United States is going to look like in the future and what the world's going to look like. He was a prophet. All right. Now, Sean David Morton is to me, one of the most important people in the whole world. And he goes into a lot of different things when he was lecturing. But here's the thing. He's got cancer. He's got to go for an operation. They killed him in jail. They were doing everything they can so that he couldn't do his paperwork to get out of jail. But here's the thing. What was that?
Didn't Al Bulick did a documentary, a report of his experience of what America looked like in the future?
Well, Al Bulick had he was with aliens. He had his ideas. But what I'm going to just finish on this, Sean David Morton did bring people to Area 51 before it was. He discovered it. He would take a van with 6 people and bring them up there, and they would all see the ships land there every other 2 weeks. And
sorry, Tommy, before we go, we do have another question. It says at this stage, civilizations are too intellectual and technological and feeble to detect. And the communication that's being observed is in a much more advanced species. So, can I just answer that? So,
go ahead.
So, I don't know who you are, but quantum vortex energy. All I can say is then you don't. Is it your own belief or a scientific belief, or you've not seen what's gone on in the world? And what do you think about people that have said that they've been abducted like me? Because I can tell you that alien civilizations are real. They are visiting this planet. They do have advanced technology, but I don't think they're more. There's something we have that they don't. So they can't be that great. If they're taking us for DNA, they need something from us. So biologically wise, we are obviously more advanced in some way. They may be more technologically advanced, but they're not more biologically advanced. So I'm not quite sure what your stance is on that, but I'm hoping that answers your question.
Well, let me add 2 more things to that. They are not spiritual. All right. And by what you said proves, all right, because the whole Anunnaki story is trying to be taken over the UFO world. And many people are falling into that wave.
Yeah.
If they were supposedly trying to mix themselves with us and all those kind of things, why is it that Greys and reptilians are still at the same place today and they still need us? So obviously their whole idea of trying to clone human and Anunnakis together is like a ridiculous idea. I'm telling you, it's a false theory, false conception, a programmed idea created by them. All right. Everybody tries to claim that they were gods at those times, but they didn't use the word God ever. We created the word God. Yeah. I mean, in the first religion, it was worshiping animals. Were they gods? To them, they were. Then when deities came out, they weren't considered gods. They were considered deities, a different definition. It was man that created the word God. But the Egyptians and the Mayans worked with aliens. And Good.
I'm going to bust it. I'll just see he's putting up there. So this gentleman knows a little bit about gravitational time dilation, dilators. I think that's from a Star Trek episode, but I do know a bit about that myself, unfortunately.
Oh, we're getting technical now.
Yeah. Temporal transversible wormholes. Is that Rosenberg bridges you'll talk about? So gravitational time dilators only work if you're looking at oncoming gravitational waves and one-way reflective light back at you. So it's oncoming light. So how do you stand then? That doesn't work. It doesn't stand up in the field of theory, because if it only comes towards you, what is the mathematical equation of it actually being detected going away from you? There's no substantial evidence for that. So don't get me started.
Well, see, you know, I understand what you're saying. All right. Can science prove, like the Big Bang Theory? Can they prove really a black hole is real? All right. They're trying to create one. They're still trying to create one with CERN, and they didn't do it yet. When they do, they might be surprised what they create. Now, the other thing on that, all right, if these things do exist and all that stuff, we're dealing with, I'm going to tell you, the vortex that destroyed the planet, and it wasn't by anybody other than an alien given Tesla technology, which actually opened the biggest vortex, dangerous vortex on this planet. The government is trying to close it, and they still can. It's allowing all these entities, creatures, demons, and whatever word you want to use for all the stuff that's coming into the planet right now. The UFO. Was it?
Is that in Wanacue?
Well, Wanacue is where the vortex is. Now, when they opened it, it all had to do with the Philadelphia experiment. And they screwed everything up. But my friend who died, who was the one that went back in time, said they offered him $4 million to go back in time to kill somebody because they killed somebody when they went back the first time. That changes history completely. One person disappearing in the old times, in ancient history, changes our reality. Now, realize this, which is the most important concept, which people seem to forget. Aliens gave the world the technology to do it, meaning they had the technology to do it a long time ago. So basically, they're playing with time. When they put cities, and they could go back and forth with a city and put it somewhere else and change the environment and all those things, implant history wherever they want.
I think the other point is, my point getting across is, they're not developing these technologies. Humans have the ability. They've developed this technology, and human beings are using this technology. If they've using this technology, abductees have used this technology. If you've been put into a bubble or portal or any way you want, a time dilation device, or whatever it is, you're put inside a bubble and you're sent along either their memory, their history, or another part of the universe, or you're sent to Jupiter, where you see these ships that you would not believe beyond human capability of building it. Absolutely huge. I've never seen that wasn't built on Earth or near Earth. That was on that size technology. Human beings are using someone else's technology now. They have the capability. They don't understand the consequences of it, or they don't know how to use it. But human beings are using that technology. If abductees are being taken, abductees are using that technology. Whether it's been forced on them, they've been put in it or taken through it. They've been taken and they've been taken through it. But we'll get to that again next week. Come back on the show next week. Have some questions and more answers for us, because I'd like to get into all that.
All right. I'm a rebel because I look at this world. Okay, let me just finish the statement. This world as a program to keep us from growing spiritually. Everything you talk about, when it talks about government, is that radiation or
right
what?
off the bat?
Radiation.
Right up.
My partner has it in his knee. I picked it up the other day, turned it on, and his knee wouldn't stop beeping.
Only his knee?
Only his knee.
Interesting.
No volts per meter. Mine's radiation at the bottom.
Mine's the top. Mine's not radiation. Mine's electromagnetic.
Yours looks like EMFs there, Tommy.
That's what mine is, but it's at a dangerous level. I went in front of my microwave, and I couldn't believe how powerful that is.
Well, are you using Wi-Fi on your computer right now?
Hey,
I got Wi-Fi right next to it. Yes.
It goes off near my TV.
That's what it's reading right now is the EMF from your Wi-Fi radiation.
Oh, mine is, yeah. But no.
This is micro Tesla's radiation. I've got nothing near my TV.
Okay.
Want to put it on my head?
I put this near the TV. Mine goes
there
up
it goes. That's crazy. Yeah.
It's going up to like 200.
Yeah.
But
Tommy, try putting that meter close to your Wi-Fi router and see what you get.
Okay.
Oh, get it from a boob.
I only get 60.
60?
60. I get 120 when I put it near the TV screen.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
I got 1.111 there. Radiation macro Teslas.
Yeah, that makes sense. Any and all digital devices give off a large amount of EMFs.
So how do I give off micro Tesla radiation then?
That I can't answer. The radiation question.
Nobody can answer the question on radiation because radiation is not supposed to disappear and come back.
Right.
So just before we go, guys, Sasha, is there anything you want to ask or questions before I go and plug my book and go?
Oh my gosh, there's not enough time. It's been so long.
Write them down for next week.
Yes, I know.
Come on the show more often. And for all our viewers tonight, please, I'm not argumentative. I love to get into it. I love to know more. I think there's a lot more going on and we just need to get it out there. Please come on the show and challenge us. Just before I go,
okay,
this is the last time you'll speak to me as a 49-year-old. The next time you speak to me, I will be half a century old. So Sunday, I'm going to be 50 years old on the 7th of February.
Okay, yeah, happy early birthday, Tina.
Thank you. I'm just going to plug my book. So this is my my latest book. It's called The Checkpoint by T.A. Bird. You can buy it on Amazon. There's a picture of me on the back. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it on download. It's on Kindle. If you've got Kindle Unlimited, you can get it for free. It's about, I think it's $6 or $4.99, £5 in England, or $6 in the US. I also have another one. You can get that, The Guardians of Light and Brotherhood of the Night. That's again by me, and you can buy that. That's for about $10 or $12. Please buy one of these. So if you buy one in the States or Canada or download it, I get international recognition for selling one out of the UK. So please, somebody buy one and please leave a 5-star review because it's great. And my next one's due out shortly. That's good night from me in the UK. Sasha and everyone, it's been a pleasure. Please come on the show next week. Again, Tommy's been great. You've all been great. And there's not enough time on the show. Please contact Tommy. Email us or message us with questions for next week and we can look into answers. And please come back on the show.
You can't leave yet. I want to say this. I didn't read a sexual book. I didn't read a sexual book since I was 16.
This is emotional, an emotional drive. It's very good, very eye-opening. It's very human. Put it that way.
Okay. Well, it's always a pleasure, Tina. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
I'm probably doing another show tonight. You'll be sleeping, but I'm probably doing another show later. I'm doing a 3-part thing on freedom, and a definition of freedom. So, and it's really hardcore. But it's always a pleasure. Happy birthday. If we don't talk before then.
Thank you. And stay safe, everyone. And bye from the UK here in Southampton. Bye-bye, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, good seeing you again, Tina. Take care.
Well, that was Tina. All right. She's been abducted many times. Her story's really great. She's one of the only people one of the few people that I know that's really been abducted, has a lot of proof to prove it as well. She can't even get some of the proof because the government won't let her have it. Her own x-rays, pictures, and videos and things like that. It's bizarre. But as far as the radiation doesn't disappear and come back. It doesn't do things like that. So however it's affecting her and the way we see it is incredible. I'm waiting for somebody to step in and say, well, we got to figure out what that is and how it could happen. All right. I mean, we both put a Geiger counter. I'm not radioactive, which I'm glad. But she is. On and off, and sometimes it's really high.
Wait, I thought your gauge got some radiation readings.
Only once, but it was little. Like right now, I'm not getting radiation. I'm glad.
Okay.
She has the symptoms of radiation poisoning.
Yeah.
And she doesn't talk about that much, but yeah, that's scary. I worry about her.
You know, what I find so interesting is when I won that Wanakyu Vortex pendant from you guys, when you guys did Adventures into the Strange show, every time I wore it, I saw orbs and Merkabahs and all that stuff. But as soon as I gave it as a gift to my friend Alex, he's now in Colorado, I have not seen
away?
I have not seen a peep.
But you gave it away, huh?
Honestly, all the confirmation in a 1 year period of time, seeing all that stuff was more than enough for me, because I have already believed that stuff. And for me to see that for a whole year, it was amazing. And yeah, Alex still hasn't touched it because he's kind of scared of it, because he was with me half the time that we actually saw this stuff, and it was his birthday, and I decided it would be a great idea to give it to him, because he was really into that alien stuff.
Well, Mr. Sergeant 18 has disappeared from my frame of life.
Okay.
I don't know. I know he had a problem with some person that I'm dealing with. I mentioned. In the interim, I guess it's over. I probably might not ever hear from him again. I know he was pretty sickly. I don't think he just suddenly healed.
Well, he just recently posted a video on YouTube, an update
of him having the virus, right?
Yes.
Well, that's not new. That's old already. So I mean, he claims he almost died. He claimed he almost died the last time. Claimed a lot of things. But I put a challenge on him, and I confronted him with something he predicted. He said God told him Trump will be president, and I said, "Oh well, your God lied to you." So to me, when somebody says something from God, if I say something from God, I'll put my life on the line, and in every aspect of it, and I won't be wrong, or I won't say it. But when he said that, I challenged him. When he said he was working with Jesus, I challenged him. When people say they're spiritual or religious, whatever words that make that person feel good, when he brought the statue of the Virgin Mary in back of him, the Virgin Mary wasn't the goddess of the time frame. Mary Magdalene was. So, I mean, when people worship things and they don't know the real foundation, which I do because I was there, it becomes critical. And I'm a critical judge. I'm really hardcore about the truth.
Mm-hmm.
My truth. I don't care about anybody else's. You could have any kind of truth you want, but if you can't help the world with it, what good is it? If it doesn't help the world, what good is it? Anything I say can help you if you follow through with what I give you. Sasha, I know you're still trying, which you got to keep doing.
Yes.
Maybe you need to get a ayahuasca experience or something to break the mold or whatever.
Something like that, because it's not easy. But it's the journey I want. It's not easy.
But like I said, the native people forced themselves to have a vision. They would tie themselves and hang from their chest, bleeding and everything for a week. And then they go through a vision. Forcing a vision doesn't make it real. Because look at all the native people. What happened to them? They were all killed. So all the vision quests and all the things they went on did not help save them. Working with the supposedly starved beings did not help them. Now they're saying they're working with...
Reading the book of Max Christensen, the Kalang system, gave me some more information, which is helpful in regards to my meditation practices.
Oh, cool. I mean, like I said, the technique is a great starter, and it should open it up and should create the foundation for it. I mean, I had mine all before I went into Kamun. But I watched the people. When he had 60 people in a room, 30 women would have a death experience.
Yeah.
In one day, sometimes more than that, but usually the second day, all the women that didn't have it the first day had it the second day. But they would be talking. One person started talking comic book language, and it opens it, but it doesn't protect you when you go into a death experience without the protection before you go into it. All right. Like I said,
mean, I always ask, for God's protection before meditation, for His help. So. I mean, you can't get any higher than that. So
no, exactly. I said, why go to the soldiers? Go to the president. Go to the captain. Go to the leader. If you're going to get the protection, get it from them first. So I wouldn't ask somebody on the street about my life. I'd go to God, or even your angels can help you with certain things.
I did kind of feel bad always asking for God's help and leaving my guides out of it, all that stuff. So.
Well, no, you should try to get. when you go through that door, which I told you when you're doing your exercise, you should be looking for your guides. Don't look for God. God's not going to be there. So if you're really trying to find God when you step out of your body, when you're going through that door, you're starting too high. You have to find your guides. They're going to have to take you to God. You're not going to get to God by yourself, and they'll take you the first 2 times. So obviously, you should be looking for your guides, your angels, when you step through that door. Think about that. I didn't realize you were just trying to get God. That hey, God. God doesn't like to talk to people.
No. I was referring just initially, like before the meditation, asking for help and guidance only for God. I feel bad leaving my guides out of it.
Well, no. Do you ask your guides to meet with you? That's what you ask them.
Yeah.
If you know them, then you can start talking to them at a level and protect me all the time. Do this and help me.
Yeah. See, everybody's got that antenna, that transceiver connection to God. You just need to learn to to listen.
See, people think they can talk to God at any level. The conversation with God, I challenge him 100 times. Danny Brinkley, I challenge him. He had 3 death experiences. Then he worked with David Wilcox, saying they're going into rainbow body. They have no clue what they're talking about. People, you pay big money. You follow these people. They're leading you down a rabbit hole to nowhere. All right. They're not leading you up to God or spirit. They're leading you down into the darkness of Satan. All right. Satan controls this reality, whether people want to believe that or not.
I'm going to go on mute just for a second. I'm making a new batch of chili. I'll be right back.
Okay. So people, look, you heard it here first. We try to stay with the truth, stay with the things that are going on in the world right now. All right. Thank you for that. Here's the thing. As we move forward, we need to respect the planet and respect each other. I don't know how that's going to happen as long as people have a different God. And if a person has no God, how do you think we're going to unite? There has to be a fine point where we all can unite on an accepting of something. You got to start somewhere with a specific thing. Respect the what? A person? A person that's a rapist, murderer, a thief. How do you respect the person? You have to have some quality of power within that. And the awareness of God is the highest power there is, because if you realize there is one, then you're accountable to all things. When you don't recognize that, you're not accountable to anything. And the oneness idea is great in lower worlds. If you want to be in that bliss state, it's great. But to be in a bliss state forever doing nothing is useless to me. Everybody
have
has
you started any specific workshops recently? Because I checked your channel.
I'll let you know. I got it all lined up. I wanted to bring somebody on with me when I do it, but I haven't been able to find a deal with enough to bring them on.
Okay.
So, but look, I got to run to the pharmacy. It was a pleasure having you on, Sasha.
Yes, I appreciate you having me on as well.
I worry about you all the time when I don't see you. For the world out there, please, it's a changing world, and it's not getting much better, even though you hear all these people saying how beautiful, how great, and we're going to move into this beautiful. You don't change into a beautiful thing. You can't be a mass killer and turn into a beautiful angel. It doesn't.
People think you can murder on a Monday through Friday, and then on Sunday, all your sins are gone.
But to think that when you die, you're going to become a super angel, really? Just because your father died, your mother died, your child died, doesn't make them a god or a demon or anything. It makes them a soul, which what they were when they left. Mm-hmm. And that karma that they had, they have to pay for it.
Yep.
So with that, people, you want the truth? I'll be doing another show on freedom in the next tonight or tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow. I got to run to town tomorrow, but in the next couple of days if I don't do it tonight. So think about it. Pull up my site. I'm on YouTube. If you become a friend on YouTube, you always have my link to see the show. Always go in there, and you can always text me you want to come on a show if you don't get the link to get on a show. But until next time, peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life. Hope you find it. Keep looking. Don't stop. Look for the truth only, because the truth is out there.
Yep. Yes, it is. And to answer really quick John's question, no, me personally, I am not taking the vax.
Okay.
But, because I know what it is. Yeah, I know what it is. All right, Tommy. Thanks for your time again, and you take care. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Send this link to everybody you can and your friends. No, I'm not going to get the virus. I'm going to tell everybody not to get it. They're going to try to give it to all people over 75, which is the most ridiculous statement. Trying to save lives, save 75-year-old people. Does that make sense? In California, they're not treating people that have the virus? The world's screwed up. Somebody is screwing up the whole idea. I know it's not Biden. He's trying to go with the flow. But somebody's got to come out with the truth if you can put it out there. But they don't let you put anything about the truth out there. The facts, if you knew it, would scare you even more. So, till next time. You heard it here first. Tommy Hawksblood.